Hello folks, hope you're having a good day. I certainly am, things going pretty well. Well, I say things going pretty well, nothing's gone wrong yet. Touch wood. It's going to be a lot of a calmer video today, it's not going to be much of a shouty one, or at least if I can help it. Because today is about hobby question and answer time. It is Hobby QA Thursday, where we look on the Patreon and we see what questions people have left for me over the last couple of weeks. If you want to be involved in one of these videos, all you need to do is sign up to the Patreon down below at any number. It doesn't have to be, it can be 50 pence, it can be whatever you want it to be, and you can then send me a direct question that will be answered in one of these videos. When I've got enough, when we hit terminal velocity, and I've got enough, that's when I upload a new video, one of these types. So, also, if you could also help out Composite Games down below, that would mean the world to me. They do an incredible amount for the channel, and making sure that we've got prizes for prize draws, and that I can actually grow the Void Talons. That's an amazing thing that they do for us. So if you can go and support them, please do so. At the moment, they are going through another prize draw because they've moved into a brand new location that we helped them get into, by the way, because we supported that prize draw last time as well. And some no-mark has walked past and smashed one of their windows. Yes, lovely humanity, eh? So they're doing another prize draw to try and fix that window without going into their insurance, because they've only been in the new building for 10 minutes, you know? I did, because this video is more for the OGs, it's more for the people who support the channel, but for everybody too, if you've ever wondered what my thoughts are on certain topics. Because it's mainly for the OGs though. We are going to be doing, I'm going to announce it right now, we are going to be doing a full-on Kill Team tournament that is next year. It is in the summer, we're looking at June, maybe late June. I've already cleared this, I've had a conversation with Composite Games. It will factor in, it will be in Sheffield, so we'll start in Sheffield, which is in the middle of the UK, so it's basically in the UK where everyone can get to it pretty much easily. It's very, very neutral ground. And from there, we'll be going to Composite Games, which is in Doncaster, which is like a short train ride away. And we'll be playing our event, and then we'll be going out in Sheffield that night as a big group, all of us together, you know, celebrating mental health and Northern Exile as a channel and things like that. Sharing memories, you know, anecdotes, all that kind of a thing. So it'll be really funny. I will be there, of course. And yeah, it should be really, really fun. So watch out for that. There's going to be more news about that going into next year. But it's going to be in June. Mainly to the end of June. When I've got pricing and all that kind of a thing, I'll let you know. If you are on the Patreon or you are on a member of the channel, I will be giving a code out to everybody that you need to give to me when I'm at the event, and you will get yourself a free gift, right? It's not going to be an amazing free gift, it'll be a funny free gift, but you will get it directly from me, signed to you, alright? When you're there. Cool. Awesome. So, let's jump into the Q&A, shall we? First question is, hey Exile. Oh, by the way, I don't read out people's names on the Q&A because a lot of people use their real names on Patreon, and I don't have time to go back to every single person who sends me a message saying, hey, do you mind if I use your real name, right? So, it's what it is. Anyway. Hey Exile. It's... your first person puts his name in there. Hey Exile, it's Death Chase, writing in once again. Oh, I think this was an email. This one's okay. Okay, cool. Hey Exile, it's Death Chase, writing in once again. This time there is no nightmare. I just got offered a full-time position working at a 1-year-old hobby shop, making potentially 75 to 100k a year. What? A year on the stipulation I can generate 200 to 300k dollars a year in sales, in addition to the normal sales the boss made. About 150k. Okay. I currently work as in IT, making about 50k a year in a fairly secure and easygoing place that treats me well. Do I take the opportunity to work at this game store? I was there when the store was founded. I've already helped it grow, and the community there is amazing. There is so much potential and growth that can be done. I wanted to know your opinion. Though in my mind, it feels like I've made my decision already. Should I take the offer of this 75 to 100k salary? I initially wanted to offer him a 40k salary since it's just starting out. There may be a year to get to 75k. So, Is this something worth considering? Okay. There is a question later on about working the Games Workshop, so I'll answer that in the same one here. So the question for working the Games Workshop is, hey North, so I applied and done the interview for and have been offered a job at Games Workshop in retail. I know you've spoken once or twice before about this. Could you tell me in the final tie all in answer, should I accept the job and work for Games Workshop? What are the do's and don'ts if I do? So, I'll answer both questions. Yours first, Death Chase, and then I'll answer the second one after that. So, here's the thing. That's a really good salary, don't get me wrong, 75 to 100k for working in a hobby store. My god, that's a dream job, and it's a really good salary. My one issue is, what is the time frame for them, generating more profit? If they want you to double their sales in a year, that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous target. You're not going to hit that. No one's going to hit that. Unless they don't have an online store and you make them one, you're never hitting that target. So I would say no, don't do it. Like if you're thinking about doing it and they've said, yeah, we'll give you 75 to 100k if you can generate, double our money. We're now generating 150k a year. We want you to generate 300. That's nonsense, dude. That is a boss you don't want to work for because they're not in touch with reality at all. That's not going to be doable. I don't care if you are the only hobby store in a fucking major city. That's not going to happen. You need to take that with a massive pinch of salt. Don't be fooled by the money. If you're secure right now and you're enjoying your job and you're in a good place, don't go work for this hobby store with that target in mind. Now, if they've said it's in a 5-year plan, so in 5 years we want to be making 300k a year in the store, and currently we're making 150, that's fine. That's no problem. I've got no problem with that. It's all about timing. If the timing is very short, that's a silly thing to ask for, If it's quite long, if it's 5 years, that is a reasonable thing for them to ask for. If you're earning that kind of money, they want you to make a big difference to their store. That's why you're earning the big bucks, right? So I would go back to them and say, look, I would love to work for you, but if this is over a year, then we need to talk, because I don't think that's possible. Do you know what I mean? I think I can get you to 300k a year, but I can't do it in a year. You know what I mean? I'm gonna take me 3 to 5 years to get you to 300k, but I will get you there. I can guarantee that. I will get you there. I don't guarantee it, but say, look, I will get you there. I will try my absolute best to get you there. Do you know what? Guarantee it, or fire me. Yeah, get me there. Right? Say, look, I will get you there. If you can back your own skills, hey, yeah, I can double your money in 3 to 5 years. Alright, but I can't do it in 1. If they've said 1, dude, no. And if they stick to that, then they've made your decision for you. Okay? But try and work on that deal, because there's a deal there to be done, I think. Try and make sure that you can wangle a good time period out of it, or maybe get them to lower their target. If it's for the first year, say, why don't we stagger it and say, okay, you pay me 75 grand to 100 grand a year, no problem. Instead of me doubling your money, maybe I can just get you an extra 20 grand a year for the first year. So you're earning 150, now you're earning 170, and we'll do it that way. Maybe. I don't know. There's a workaround here to be had. So if it's your dream job, go back to them and negotiate, but don't accept it as it is if that's over a year. That's ridiculous. Okay? Cool. Especially not when you've already got a job. That pays quite well. Because, why would you? Games Workshop guy, it depends what you want out of working for Games Workshop, alright? So, working for Games Workshop for me, you can, if you get a good manager in retail, you have the best job in the world as long as you're not paying for anything. If you're looking at a Games Workshop job to pay your rent, don't join Games Workshop. Don't. The top men at Games Workshop are earning 35 grand a year. Do you know that email I just got from the other guy from Death Chase? Right? That email I just did there? He's earning more at that store than one of the top managers at Games Workshop is earning at one store. So don't be going into Games Workshop thinking that you're going to make your career and, you know, have money to last you the rest of your life. You know, you will go... If you ever meet a manager from a store on the high street, okay, and you're a regional manager of Games Workshop and you meet a manager of another store on the high street, right, they will be earning nearly double what you earn. Yeah. It's called Games Workshop tax. Because you're working in the hobby. You should be paying them, you know, that kind of attitude. You should be paying us to work here, you know. That kind of attitude is prevalent. So, if you're in a situation in your life, man, where you're at university, and... Sorry, I'm opening a beer. Whether you're at university, or you are not in a position where you're the main breadwinner, or you're pretty sure you're going into a store that you'll love working in, if all of those things are true, or 2 out of 3 of those things are true, go for it. No problem. Go work in retail at Games Workshop. If you are expecting this job to pay your way, to pay your rent, and you're living on your own or with a friend and you're paying your rent through Games Workshop, or you want a career for the rest of your life, that's going to help you support a family and make sure you're okay for the rest of your days, do not work for Games Workshop, right? Because even if you make it to one of their very, very, very high positions, you're going to be earning somewhere around 35k a year. And we've just seen Death Chase there earning more than that, managing one store. He's not a regional manager, he's not the head of retail, right? Let me even look it up. What's he making now? Games Workshop. Oh, retail wage. Let's see if it comes up. Manager salaries. Okay. So top manager salaries. This is Games Workshop top manager salaries. You're earning between 34k a year and 46k a year, with an average bonus of around £600. Yeah. As we've just seen there, that's at or below the wage that Death Chase was offered for one store. This is a guy who's managing several stores, maybe, you know, several managers. He's making sure the managers are all there doing their jobs properly, right? It's a very stressful job. You know, it's not great. It's not great, you know. And I don't think there are very many opportunities to negotiate your pay either. So if we're looking at it purely from a financial point of view, unless you're in a situation where this isn't going to be your main breadwinning job, don't take it. Don't take it. Because, yeah, why would you? You know, if you're in a relationship though, and you're one of 2 salaries coming into your house, you could easily survive on 30 to 40k a year, easily. You know, in fact, you'd have quite a nice life. But you're not going to be making buco bucks. And somebody, a regional manager at another retailer in the UK, will be earning more than you are at Games Workshop. Nearly double, right? We're talking 60, 70, 80 grand a year, and they will be earning more than you, unfortunately. And because, you know, as I said, you should be working, you should be paying them. You know, you should be. This is what it is. I can tell you now, if you're going to be a retail manager, so that's if you're one of the big managers, one of the main guys, right? If you're going to be a retail manager, like a normal retail manager, okay, you're going to be earning nowhere near as much as this, right? The average for a regional manager or a store manager in the UK is 36k a year to 69k a year. Great number there. 69k a year. That's for a regional manager, okay? That's for a that's for a manager. That's for a store manager. That's for an actual store manager. So if you work for Tesco's, Sainsbury's, you know, and Summers pay really well, you know. So if you work for one of those companies and you're a manager of a store, you're going to be earning 36 to 69k a year, depending on the size of your store. I'm looking at all this now on Glassdoor, right? So that is the kind of wage you get for being a regional manager or higher, or even the head of bloody retail at Games Workshop. That's the kind of salary we're looking at. So this one store manager is earning as much as you when you run UK retail. for Games Workshop. That sound fair to you? Doesn't sound fair to me, right? Yeah, so you can imagine what a Games Workshop manager gets paid, like a normal manager, like a store manager. You know. Anyway, so let me have a little look here. Continue with Google. This is really interesting. I love doing this. This is cool. Okay, I'm going to do it later. So yeah, in terms of wages, don't go into Games Workshop thinking this is going to be the best thing ever, or I'm going to be able to do the rest of my life is going to be working with Games Workshop, unless you're in a position where you can afford to take a very low-paying job compared to all the people in similar industries. Don't do it. All right. Now, in terms of personal experience, this is where it gets a bit grey. This is where it starts to get a bit grey. Again, if you're going into a store where you're pretty sure it's going to be a really good place to work because the manager's cool and you know him, and you're a normal staff member, go for it. Again, only if all those things I just talked about are a green light, right? So if you're okay with the finances, yeah, then yes, go work for them. Because working with Games Workshop, when it's a good job, when you're working with good people, is the best job in the world. You know? Literally one of the best jobs in the world, especially for a nerd. If you're working with Games Workshop, you know, in any way, and you're not the main breadwinner of your house, and you can afford to take a really low-paying job and still be happy, mate, working with Games Workshop is the best job in the world. If you can get good people around you, if you get a good manager, if you get a good area manager, line manager, you are sorted. Okay? So as a staff member, you want a good manager. If you're going in as a manager, you want a good line manager and a good trainer. Those are the two things. If you get a good line manager and a good trainer, then you're on your way. They're not called line managers in Games Workshop. You know, they're called company. Well, we call them company captains and things, but they're not that. They're something else. Anyway, so you can have your main guy, your trainer, and your manager, your line manager. Let's call them your area manager, right? You need those two to be good guys. If they're good guys, then yes, take the job, as long as you're not the main breadwinner, and as long as you can walk away from the job without feeling like you're financially ruined, or that you're going to lose your place, right? Cool. Then go and do it. No problem. The second you get a whiff, you know what I mean? But you get a whiff at the interview of one of these guys looking down on you, or giving you a snooty comment, or remark, or even if you're like me, and lots of other people like me, when you can look at somebody smiling at you and know it's fake, right? If you get a whiff of that, also maybe give it second thoughts. Like, if you get a whiff of that, because the manager, if you're going for a retail position, the manager will be sitting in on the interview that you have to work at Games Workshop, right? If you go for an interview at Games Workshop to work as a retail assistant, and the manager of that store is not in the interview, I'm sorry to say, you're not in the final interview. Even if they say you are, you're not. You're not getting that job without the manager's approval of that store, right? If the retail manager is sitting there with you in the actual interview, then you have a good chance of getting that job. You were in the final few of that job, of getting the interview. So, if you get a whiff from one of them, I got that whiff and I didn't listen to it. I should have, I didn't. You know, I was in a place where I was at a crossroads. I could do anything that I wanted in life, and I wanted to work for Games Workshop. I let that cloud my judgment. I got this shiver up my spine from the man who would be my manager in my interview. You know, his attitude wasn't great. He looked down on me quite a lot. You know, it's like he was. His job is to judge me. It's an interview, but he was doing it in a very, I am loving the power of this moment sort of a way, rather than this is my job and I want to make sure I get it right sort of a way. But I drank the Kool-Aid. I went for it because I was determined to work for Games Workshop. It was a big ambition of mine to be one of my heroes, because I loved the guys at Games Workshop in Liverpool. I thought they were amazing back in the day. They were my heroes, and I wanted to be that, at least for a few years. I wanted to be that guy and just work that out and say that I've done it, you know, just say that I've done it, and I've been there and I've done it, and I've seen how the sausage is made, you know. But if you get that similar feeling, heavily consider not taking the job. Because, especially if you have alternatives, if you already have a job, dude, seriously think about what you're doing, okay? Look at the job, top and down, and if you're getting that feeling, trust your gut and walk away. That's my advice to you. If you get that feeling once from somebody at your interview, maybe not if it's the recruitment guy, because the recruitment guy is different. In your interview, there will be, for a retail position, for a store, there will be your retail manager will be there, the guy who's going to be your direct boss, your direct superior, and somebody from Games Workshop recruitment will be there. Lovely guys, most of them are anyway. A few of them are a bit off, but there's a few of them are all right. And they will sit in there with you, and they will give you your interview, and they will ask you your interview questions, right? If you get bad feelings from the recruitment person, ignore that, because it's not their job to employ you. They're not your employer, right? They're not your boss, essentially. They're there just to make sure the Games Workshop are dotting their I's and crossing their T's and making sure that they're hiring good people. And once you're hired, they're no longer a part of you. Unless you want another job in the company, they no longer want anything to do with you, right? I only saw recruitment again when I became a manager, for instance. I didn't see them at any point. Even when I went to visit Games Workshop HQ, they no longer had anything to do with me. I was passed along to a trainer, and they took me on, and they pulled me through HQ at Lenton, and we went over a load of stuff there and had a great time, right? So don't worry if the recruitment person's a bit off. There are a few of them there who like to act like they're Donald Trump on The fucking Apprentice, right? If you're working for Games Workshop Recruitment, I know one of you watches these videos. If you're working for them, you know who I mean. There's a few. You know who I mean. Unless they're not there anymore. I don't know. But you would know who I mean. There are a few who like to treat you like, you're on the fucking Survivor or something. But yeah, don't worry about that. But at the minute you get a whiff from your manager that all is not well with the world, and grill them as well. Do you know what? You're in an interview. This is going to be your job. Make sure you ask them questions. Ask them questions about how they run their store. What are their targets for the store going forwards? And what are the one of the main things I didn't like was when I asked that question of my manager. I said, what are the targets for the store, right, going forwards? I'm not a financial expert. I don't know what he's making, what the store's making. So I said, what are the targets going forwards? Like how would you want to grow? And he sort of just looked at me and just shrugged and rolled his eyes and went, well, we want the store to get bigger, of course, but you don't know anything about our financial situation, so why are you asking that question? I said, well, I'm showing an interest in the place where I'm going to be working, dude. We're all going to be on the same time. We're all going to be on the same team here, right? Again, the minute you get a whiff, listen to it and leave. Don't do what I did. All right? Above all that, though, working with Games Workshop is amazing. It's absolutely amazing if you get the right people around you. And I know a lot of people, well, I know 2 people, who are still at Games Workshop in retail because they got good jobs in good stores with good people around them, and they managed to stay the course. As soon as you've been there for 4 or 5 years, they find it very hard to just get rid of you because your feet are under the table then, right? So there you are. Anyway, that's my advice. Okay, next question. Bloody hell, that was a long one. Hi North, just curious, what don't you like about airbrushing? Okay, alright. Okay, let's get this out the way, alright? I don't dislike airbrushing per se. Okay. Airbrushing per se is fine. If you want to do it, no problem. All power to you. My issue is with online tutorials that tell you, hey, let's paint this Space Marine and I'll show you how to paint it. Okay, cool. That Space Marine does look really cool. Step 1. Buy a £300 airbrush. No, dude. No. What the fuck is wrong with you? That's not how you do a painting tutorial. Alright? Or go and buy yourself an airbrush. No. That's specialist equipment, dude. I am not... If you're going to do a painting tutorial on YouTube, it needs to be beginner friendly, or say it's not. Say this isn't for beginners, put it on a thumbnail, it's not for beginners, this is for advanced hobbyists who've got advanced equipment or have access to an airbrush and things like that, then fine, go and do that sort of thing. Or even do a tutorial on where to buy an airbrush and how to set it up. That'd be great. Go and do one of them and then do all of those videos. Don't sit there and pretend you've got talent as a painter because you do a little bit of spraying over the top of your model. Right? You're not a talented painter. And that's the second point that I don't like about airbrushing. I find there's nothing wrong with it if you do it. Absolutely not. But, dude, it doesn't make you a good painter. It doesn't. A good painter to me is somebody who starts with an undercoated model and they paint their model with a brush. Brush, paints and water and inks and things like that. If you see an airbrushed model, it's so obvious that it's been airbrushed and then just touched up. You know what I mean? It's so obvious, dude. Like, oh, look at the shadows. No, mate, it looks like a fucking cartoon. Looks ridiculous, right? Again, nothing against you if you do it. No problem. But don't talk to me like you're some sort of Picasso of painting miniatures when 75% of your workload is spraying a fucking piece of spray over your models. That's not talent. You don't have talent. Okay? Just is what it is. That's like getting a 3D printed model, right? That's already posed and saying you're a really good modeler. No, you're not. You've 3D printed a model. You didn't put that together. You 3D printed it, made sure it looked nice, painted it, and now it's done. You're not a good converter. Alright? Changing somebody's sword on a model doesn't mean you're very good at converting either. Same thing. If you 3D print something off and you change the sword or the pauldrons to make it look a bit more Games Workshop-y, you're not a good that doesn't mean you're a good converter, dude. It doesn't. I'm not having a go. I'm not like saying you shouldn't do that. It might look amazing, but don't talk to me like you're some sort of amazing hobbyist who's able to sculpt things and do really cool stuff with green stuff and things like that, because you're not. And the amount of people who have airbrushes who talk to me like there's some sort of artist who's going around, dude, you spray shit on your models. That's what you do. There's no craft to that. There's no sitting down and concentrating on that. There's no zen to that. That's the one thing I really hate about it. There's no zen to it. One of the main things about this hobby that's cool is putting a podcast on, or an audiobook, or a YouTube video, like mine, plug there, and painting your models and letting your mind drift. Have you ever noticed, like, there's this the concept of oneness that a lot of Far Eastern martial artists talk about, right? Where, Bruce Lee talked about it. He said, be water and all that sort of stuff. And most of that is to do with acting without thinking. Being one. Being present. Wholly present. That's what meditation is. Meditation is emptying your mind with discipline so that you're completely empty and calm. Completely. That's what meditation is. And the only moments I've ever managed it, because I've tried meditation, I've been taught meditation, I can never quite do it. Do you know when I do it, when I have zen, when I'm right there, is when I'm painting models. When I'm painting fucking models, dude. Right? I only know, I have a good friend of mine, and he teaches Taekwondo and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and a bunch of other things as well. He's amazing, an amazing dude. And when we went for a pint about a few months ago now, I was talking to him about my modelling experience and what I like about Warhammer, because he's thinking about getting into it. And he said, "Wow, and you said you don't do meditation though?" And I said, "Well, I don't do meditation." He said, "Well, you do, because that's what everybody aims for when they're doing meditation, and very few people get there. You've just described the ideal meditation, result. Is what you've just described, and you get that once a day." And I was like, "Yeah, when I'm painting models." He goes, "Wow, you're so fucking lucky." I was like, "Wow, really?" He goes, "Yeah, it's like it's the most amazing thing you can do for your mental health, is to make your brain, make yourself empty, and let the world just go, let everything go. And if you're concentrating on painting your model and making it look nice, right? Which is why I'm a big fan of don't batch paint." Paint one marine completely at a time. That's when you do it. Because every single marine then, you need to focus on what you're doing. You're not just blindly going, I'll do the silver now on every one of these 10 models, then I'll do the gold. No. Do every single one to completion. One at a time. That's how you do it. That's how you get into the Zen headspace. That's how you empty your fucking mind of everything. And you get there, and before you know it, your mental health is so much better. Do you know what you don't get that from? Spraying your fucking models like a prick. With a plastic glove on. Like you're some sort of forensic scientist. Get in the fucking sea. Moving on. Hey North, I have a question that might piss you off in a fun way. Okay. What's up with you redcoats and tea? To me, it tastes like leaf juice. I'm not taking culinary lessons from a dirty colonial. Sorry. You'll be telling me what good beers taste like next. Fucking Americans. If you need to add shit to it to taste good, then is it really good? You don't. You know? Gatorade tastes good, and I don't have to add anything to it. This is the most American question I've ever gotten. It's not full of sugar, dude, so I know some of my southern countrymen might say otherwise, but in my opinion, I'd say they like sugar more than they like tea. Thanks for your time, your American fan. Cheers, man. The thing with tea, like actual black tea, like Yorkshire tea and things like that, is it's made to have milk added to it. It tastes... You can drink it without. Completely fine. You can drink it without. But it's made... It's almost too malty to not have milk in it. Milk, it completes the tea experience. That's what it's there for. And they've made it that way. They've made it so you add milk to it and it tastes, you know, a nice cup of tea. A nice cup of char, right? But there are thousands of teas out there that I like just as much, Dragon Leaf is one, that I like just as much, that don't add any milk at all. Because you didn't mention Yorkshire tea there, you just said tea. Well, there you go. There are thousands of teas that we drink in the UK that don't have any milk in them at all. You don't add anything. You don't add anything. Right? You just make the tea and that's it. Tea is great. It's very good for the digestion. It's very, very good for losing weight. Right? It's a thermic food. It burns fat. Right? If you don't have any milk in it or any sugar in it, it's a thermic food. It burns fat. Right? So it's very, 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 very good for you. Full of vitamins and all that sort of stuff. And on a cold winter's day, there's nothing better than a lovely cup of char, lovely hot cup of tea. The very fact that you brought up Gatorade here, like, you know, well, that's such an American response. That's lazy, dude. I just want to get my Gatorade and open it and shove it in my mouth. Okay, cool. Well, that's good for you, man. But like, tea isn't full of nonsense, you know, preservatives and borderline poison. That, you know, when I have sugar now, I have a sugar rush. I'm like, oh, sugar, nice, and tastes nice because I'm not addicted to it. Yeah, I've become desensitized to sugar. Most Americans I know have become desensitized to sugar. They don't even taste sugar anymore. They need more and more and more of it to get any sort of taste out of it. You know, tea is great, man. Give it a go. Give it a go. You won't regret it. All right, cool. Now don't drink that much Gatorade. It's ridiculous. Next. All right, Exile. You mentioned you finished Cyberpunk 2077 and Phantom Liberty, right? What did you think? Mind giving me a rundown, as I might get it for Christmas. Are you going to do a video on it when you start doing essay videos over the weekends? Because I mentioned you were doing because you mentioned you were doing a Baldur's Gate video and you never got round to it. Cheers. Yeah, I did mention I was going to do a Baldur's Gate video, and then I realised how controversial it would be, and I didn't do it. I don't want the headache. But since you're all real ones here, I can tell you what I think of Baldur's Gate before I go on to Cyberpunk. I didn't like Baldur's Gate 3 very much. And I know that's going to sound, you know, very controversial. I didn't like it very much. I didn't enjoy it that much. I completed it. You know, it was fine. You know, but anybody who tells me that that is a better game than Dragon Age Origins needs to suck my lovely hairy balls. Right? Just not. They're also not hairy, but we won't go into that, right? So, yeah. There we are. Don't say that to me. It's not right. It's just completely wrong. Completely wrong. Baldur's Gate 3 to me was essentially a setting that didn't take itself very seriously, a game that didn't take itself very seriously, and the amount of people there who were saying, "Oh wow, it's much darker than the Dungeons and Dragons movie." I'm like, really? Is it? There's nothing dark about it at all. It's squick horror sometimes, but it's not really dark. You know, the themes aren't dark. I don't know. I just didn't like it. The writing in it. This is going to be controversial, right? So please, the two women who watch this channel, please don't hate me for this. The game reads and sounds like it was written by a woman, right? And I don't mean that women can't write, because they can. Anybody who's read anything by Robin Hobb, right? Women can write, and can write very well, and can tell amazing stories. This was written like it was written not just by a woman, but by, you know, some teenager who works in Starbucks. Every single character you meet is either gay or bisexual and wants to fuck you every single time you turn around. Right? That knocked me off completely. I was like, what? We literally just met. My friend, Steady, my poor friend. This game raped my friend. Right? It's not funny. Stop laughing. It's not funny. Right? So, this... My friend... Okay. My friend is the most straight man you could ever come across, and gayness freaks him out. He's live and let live. You go and do that, but men on man stuff freaks him out. He's very old fashioned that way, right? He goes, oh my god, you know, switches it off. So imagine his surprise that because he was nice to Gale, the male wizard in the group, once a cutscene triggers when he goes to rest, where Gale just gets into bed with him and shags him fucking senseless. Like, he's just sitting there going, what's going on? I didn't press this. Why is doing this to my character? Right, this game raped my friend. Yeah. Exactly. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Like, what is going on there? Why do we... Oh my god. And every character is like that. Every character is like that. There is no exception. Maybe Chihira, but she's too old to romance anybody. So anyway, so, you know, and Minsk, because he's like, you know, he's also really old. But everybody else, just all the time, like rabbits. It's this utopian weirdo simulator where, you know, it's just for weirdos. It's a game for fucking weird. I'm sorry, it's a game for weirdos. Like, if you need sexual gratification from a game to play the game, dude, you're fucking weird. You need to go outside and touch grass. Okay? I'm not adverse to romances being in games at all. Like, not at all. Absolutely not. I think it's great. But thing is, old BioWare handled them so much better. Right? Your character got to know other characters. And the other characters had sexualities. They weren't just this, you know, player sexual sort of thing where, you know, they're all gay and bisexual, whatever, pansexual, whatever, right? No, Morrigan had preferences in Dragon Age Origins. If you were a woman, she wasn't going to flick your bean, sorry, because she's straight. Okay? If Alistair's there, he's not going to suck your dick, he's straight. He's straight, sorry, right? Zevran would go with anybody. Leliana would go with anybody. But, you know, there are certain people who had certain preferences. And there were certain people in your party who had no interest in romance whatsoever, because it would make no sense. Sten, for instance, right, and Ogrin wouldn't make much sense. So they had no interest in you sexually whatsoever. Win, It's an old woman, right? And it worked really, really, really well. Really well. Because they acted and sounded like real people. And so your player got that much more of a connection with them because they looked and sounded real. Same thing with Mass Effect. Apart from Liara, who falls in love with you straight away, everybody else acts like an adult, and you need to nurture those friendships with them before they become relationships. And the sex scenes even are very tasteful in all of the BioWare games. They're very tasteful. They're very, like, you know, they don't shall I say, you know, whore out their characters like it's some sort of porno. Whereas, you know, Baldur's Gate has no such qualms. Baldur's Gate has bears having sex with you. It has bestiality in it, for God's sake. Right? It's just weird. It's a game for fucking weirdos. I'm sorry. And I completed it. Now, what does it say about me? But I completed it with my toes curling up like, oh my god, this is so cringe. Right? Even the dialogue, wherever you go, so cringe. All of your characters are in your party are all like downtrodden, you know, victims. They're always crying all the time. They've always got these tragic things going on. Like, really? All of you? All of you are all of you. Right, okay, fine. In Dragon Age, what do we have? What do we have? We've got Alistair, who is who has a bit of a tragic backstory, but not too tragic, you know what I mean? He was still a royal bastard. He's still a lot better off than most people, right? You got Morrigan, who had a tragic backstory, but refused to even talk about it like it was a tragedy. She thought it was amazing that what happened to her. We have Sten, who's not tragic at all. He's actually extremely strong. He's from a culture that celebrates his strength and wants him to be just that strong, right? We have Ongrin, who's downfall now. He's fallen down now, but he was the best of the warrior elite of his whole place. Not everybody in this fucking troop is a crying victim. Whereas everybody in Baldur's Gate was. Every single one of them. There wasn't one. Right? Even Lae'zel was a whinge bag. To whinge all it did. I just want to get back to my culture, and this is all so, it sucks so much. I was actually, and for a while I was like, oh my god, this is great. Lae'zel's the one person in this game who isn't a crying victim. And then all of a sudden, 3/4 of the way through the game, that's not even a twist, but you find out that her entire race is mind controlled by their queen, and they're all essentially victims. And I'm like, oh, for God's sake, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Jesus Christ. And, you know, to me, I played as the Dark Urge because I had to. Because I had to murder everybody. They pissed me off so much. Right? I barely met Gale because I chopped his hand off as soon as I met him. And I didn't have to put up with him for the rest of the game, right? I will do a playthrough one day on stream where I kill every one of my companions. We just do it that way. But the game does punish you as well. If you don't create like a really amazing character, you can't play the game on your own. You're going to get twatted, right? And the story itself was very formulaic. It was very A, B, and C. You know, bad guys, this and that. And in a weird way, it didn't explain itself very well, like what the Elder Brain was and what all these other things were. It was just very fantastical. And when the main bad guy of your story is a giant fucking brain, you've kind of lost me. It doesn't. It's like it's written by a 5-year-old, man. A 5-year-old who thinks that their writing's so deep and immersive. It's not. It's not, right? There are also many, shall we say, choices throughout the game that didn't really work. For instance, what's the barbarian tiefling woman's name? What's her name? Karlach? Right. So Karlach's got this heart in her that's like going to explode. I don't know. Just leave me with it, right? It's going to explode. And you need to get this iron to put around her heart so you can touch each other. Because, again, everything about this game is about sex, apparently. Go figure. So, to do that, you've got to go and get this iron. If you don't get that iron, she gets a really, really, really shitty ending where she dies painfully, no matter what you do. Okay? Cool. There are NPCs in this game who sell that iron. There's only 1 or 2 of them. They can both die very, very easily, off screen, and without any warning. Yeah, and that's not with you going too far into the story and not talking to them. No. If you even go a smidge, one of the guys, I think it's only one guy you can buy it from. One of the guys the one guy that I met in a village, I spoke to him. I said, I'll be back later to buy some stuff from you. I walked out and walked into a pub. A cutscene happened. Entire village destroyed. From nowhere. He's dead. I now can't complete Karlach's mission. Do you know what I mean? There are lots of little things like that are in the game that just make you go, what? That's what you did? And then by the end of the game, when she was dying, I was laughing. I was like, you're trying to make me care now? Really? That's what you're trying to do? You're trying to make me care? Okay, no, I don't care. I don't care, because this is silly. This is just silly, you know? So yeah. Combat's fine. I mean, yeah. But I'll be honest with you, I've never been a big fan of the combat in Divinity Original Sin 2. It was fine. No, I don't get why everyone was going on about it. You know, you can electrify water. All right. You know, okay. You know, everybody was going head over heels for this game, and I thought it was really mid. I didn't get it. I didn't get it at all. When I finished it, I didn't think about it again, and I don't think, aside from streaming it, I don't think I'll ever play through it again. You know what I mean? And I play through Dragon Age and Mass Effect once a year. And those games are ancient now. And I play through them all once a year. Because the character work's that good. You know, gameplay in an RPG is like secondary. You know, any RPG fan knows that, right? It's secondary, and it's quite distant second as well. The main thing that Baldur's Gate 3 is meant to do, it fails. If I got handed that story by a student, we would be going through it with red marker together. Go, no, we don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need this. Why is this fucking brain the main bad guy? You know, do you want to do a grounded? You know, it doesn't know what it wants to be. Do you want to be a whimsy, critical role style story of annoying Saturday morning cartoon characters? Then fine, go do that, right? If you want to be a really dark, grounded Game of Thrones / Dragon Age setting where bad shit happens and you've got to survive day by day, then do that kind of a game. Don't mix the two, dude. Don't mix the two. You can have brevity and levity in a Dragon Age game, a darker game. You can have funny moments in that, no problem, right? There are lots of funny moments in Dragon Age. But the world itself has a theme, right? Everything in Baldur's Gate is a joke until it tries to hit you over the head with some really, really, really dark problems that come out from out of nowhere. You go from, like, having a bestiality scene between two bears, or a bear and one of your characters, to, like, you know, orphans being killed by a witch. Like, what? Do you know what I mean? Like, you struggle to latch on and care. And I know real life's like that. Real life is chaotic. But there's a reason why people don't like that in the stories, because they find it hard to follow. You go, what? If your world... The reason why I didn't like Divinity Original Sin 2's world, right? Because there's skeleton people and lizard people. You know, and these aren't like bestial races. These aren't bestial races that have some intelligence. These are absolutely some of the most refined people in the setting. And it just made me go, what? If you don't respect your setting to be serious, neither do I. So I'll just fuck around in it, and after a while I'll get bored and walk away. That's just the kind of guy I am. So that's a personal preference thing. That's just how I feel. But to me, Baldur's Gate 3 was a bit mid. Didn't deserve the praise it got. And, yeah. Sorry, it's a hot take, I guess. But I just, as somebody who loves RPGs, and loves Dragon Age, and loves Mass Effect, and loves The Witcher, you know, absolutely adore The Witcher to death, right? Love Cyberpunk, love every, you know, Elder Scrolls, all of that shit, man. War Tales, I've been playing War Tales. War Tales is the shit, man. If you've never played War Tales before, go and get it and pick it up. It's amazing. It's amazing. I love War Tales, right? Mountain Blade, all different types of RPG, I love. Dragon's Dogma. I can't get into Baldur's Gate 3. So this is not somebody who's not really into RPGs. I love RPGs. But I cannot, for the life of me, I'm not doing Baldur's Gate 3 again unless it's on stream. Got no interest in playing it. It wasn't... And to hear so many people tell me it's the greatest RPG of all time, or it's what RPGs were always meant to be, no, dude. No. No. You're giving them far too much credit. Far too much credit. I'm sorry. I'll say this now. Shadowrun Returns and Shadowrun Hong Kong and Shadowrun Dragonfall, made by a small indie developer, isometric RPGs with cartoony graphics, are better games than Baldur's Gate 3. For a tenth of the budget, probably. Right? Just, character work was good in those games. Amazing character work. Really made me care about what was going on. The combat's decent. It holds up, no problem, right? It's not overly complex. There's no builds, quote unquote. There shouldn't be builds in a fucking RPG, right? Or you should at least be able to switch that shit off and not have to do it. I shouldn't have to look up builds in your RPG. Okay, unless it's a tactical RPG, then fine. But if it's an actual role-playing game, no. No. If I wanted to play D&D, I'd go and play fucking D&D. Right? There's a reason why I want the computer to do all that stuff for me. I want to be into the story. I don't want to know if I've got a -1 stat to hit because I've got a dick wedged up my arse or something. Right? I don't want to know. You do that, computer. You do that. I want to enjoy the story and the spectacle and my character doing shit. Controversial opinion, I know, guys. I know it is, but here we go. Anyway, Cyberpunk. Alright. I want to do a video on Cyberpunk. That's probably going to be one of my first videos to do, but I just saw that Sphere Hunter did a video on Cyberpunk, and it really knocked all of the... Like, I was like, oh my god, that was such an amazing video that I'm just like, nah, I can't match that, so I'm not even going to try. But I will do it. I will do a full deep dive into why I love it, because I do love it. I think Cyberpunk 2077 now is the game we were promised in 2020, and or at least as close to it as we're ever going to get. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Phantom Liberty is probably one of the most impactful, fantastic stories I've ever played in any RPG ever. So, fucking buy it. Like, go and buy it. And go and get it. There was one bad change they made that I can think of, and this is the only bad thing I could say. There is a ending that you get at the end of the normal game with Johnny Silverhand, where you can storm the bad guys' hideout together, right? That's all I'll say. And that's a secret ending, right? It's a secret ending where you can actually just, you and him, you leave all of your friends out of it because you don't want to get them killed, and you go and do it together. That was always locked behind you and Johnny Silverhand developing a really good relationship, which I thought worked really well. And I wanted to try that this time around with my Corpo V character, my Corporate V. I wanted to try that kind of thing, because he's the kind of character who wouldn't want his friends involved, right? But the game, instead of just keeping it as it was, now that ending is locked behind an innocuous dialogue choice that you make with Johnny 30 or 40 hours before that. That's completely innocuous. It's a neutral thing, right? So even though my V, my character, and Johnny are basically like brothers at this point, and they love each other to death, that ending won't trigger because the game doesn't think me and Johnny are friends. Because I didn't make that one dialogue choice. It doesn't even lead anywhere. Just me talking to him, right? I didn't make that one innocuous dialogue choice 30 hours ago. That's not signposted. And even the dialogue choice is like a middle of the ground dialogue choice. And I was always trying to make sure that my V and Johnny were getting along. You know? That's a bad change. And Pavel Sesko, who did the quest design on Cyberpunk, when he was asked, he gave a really lazy answer, like, well, you know, we tried it the other way, it just didn't work. No, it did, Pavel, because it did fucking work. So why'd you change it? Right? Don't bullshit people. Anyway, that's the only bad thing. And if that's the only bad thing I'm picking on, that's an amazing game. That's an amazing game. Go and, do you know what? I'm gonna reinstall it. Sorry, I'm reinstalling it. I'm literally reinstalling it right now. I'm gonna play it again. Sorry, gotta do it. I'm literally gonna do a new playthrough now. You guys have made me go and do a new playthrough of Cyberpunk 2077. It is an immaculate piece of gaming history these days. So go and play it, go and enjoy it. You'll love it, even on console, even on PS5 or Xbox Series, whatever it is. Go and play it. And yes, I will be doing a video essay eventually, but it won't be. It'll be probably New Year, first week or two of the New Year. I'll be doing that. Okay. Anyway, next, Hey North. Oh no, I've done that one. Oh, that's the last one. That's the last one. Okay, that's the last one. That's all I have to do. So that was my video. Thank you for attending my TED Talk about games that I like and games that I don't like. Again, I'm sorry if you like Baldur's Gate 3. I'm not saying you can't like it. I'm just saying I didn't gel with it. You know, I just didn't gel with it. I really like Cyberpunk though. I think it's amazing. Go and try it. If you want spoiler talk, I can probably do spoiler talk. If you want me to do spoiler talk, okay. If you don't want spoilers, leave now. Okay, but from now on, we are in, you know, PS territory, postscript territory, where I'm going to go from here to talk about other things. So, spoiler talk. The new endings that Phantom Liberty added were probably the worst bit, right, of the DLC, of the new DLC. I didn't like the way they handled it at all. I thought the new endings were not very good. Do not do the new endings. If you want a satisfactory ending to your V's journey, don't do the new endings. Because essentially, you go and get surgery to remove Johnny from your brain. And that kills Johnny, by the way, which is not great because we like Johnny, right? It kills Johnny. And every single one of your friends ditches you because you're gone for 2 years. And so when you come back, they don't want to talk to you. The one that really kicked me in the balls was Panam, because Panam's been this ride or die chick all the way through. And you get to the end of the game, you come back, and she just doesn't want to talk to you, and that really annoyed me. That really, really, really annoyed me. I just thought, yeah, that was a really shitty thing for her to do. You know, I know I've been gone for 2 years, but I told you I was going to get surgery but through this corporation, right? Like, you knew what was going to happen. And, you know, I might be gone for a while. I mean, Jesus Christ, like, why'd you just leave me high and dry? You know, so a lot of the characters really annoyed me in that. And it's like they couldn't be bothered to do cutscenes or to do phone calls or anything like that. And so, if you can't be bothered, CD Projekt Red, just don't do it. You know? Just don't do it. So that's... But those are the endings that Phantom Liberty adds on to the main game. So that's not the ending of Phantom Liberty, right? The ending of Phantom Liberty, those endings are amazing. Really, really good. But yeah, aside from that, that's the one big bit of feedback I've got that I didn't like, was the ending talk there. So, I will leave it there. I love you all a long time, and I will speak to you tomorrow for some more Hobby Nightmares. Should be a really, really fun one. An hour long, hey? An hour of ranting. It's me all over. Anyway, love you all. Thank you for sending in your messages and your questions. I will speak to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye now.